What's up, everybody? Thank you for tuning in to a Social Matrix podcast. I am your host, Armin, and today we have my good friend Eric here with us. Eric, please take it away, brother. Give us a spiel about who you are, what you do, and then afterwards we'll jump into the topic.
Okay, sounds good. So I'm Eric. I have formal education in electrical engineering, but I'm making a career transition into fashion photography, videography, and also filmmaking.
Hmm, wow, that's amazing. Anything else you want to share with us?
So I think I'm gonna share more of these details as we move forward. Just want to get the surface level out of the way.
Okay, love it. That's really cool. All right, so today's topic is on is a little abstract, but it's on multi-dimensional. So I'm not gonna say much about it, but Eric, please take it away. Let us know what is multi-dimensional, where does it even stem from, and then afterwards, I'm gonna pick your brain.
Okay, so I'm gonna say this in a very digestible way. So we know the phrase "one trick pony." So I have a philosophy that life is way too short to be a one trick pony, or God forbid, a zero trick pony. So it's better, especially from a man's perspective, to be as skilled and have a certain expertise in as many domains as possible. So that way, you have like this multi-dimensional view of looking at the world, and also when it comes to say something like how you navigate professions, how you navigate streams of income, how you even navigate dating.
Hmm. Okay, so if I understand you correctly, is this similar to the concept of tree of life?
In a way, yes. But I would say it's much deeper beyond just like Yggdrasil, the tree of reality in Nordic mythology. But I would say at a deeper level, there is a psychological underpinning in all different human cultures that bind all of us together. Like the concept of like eternal damnation, Greek Tartarus, Christian hell, Nordic Niflheim, all the same thing.
Hmm.
That's all like fire, brimstone, punishment. That's the same thing.
Hmm.
Same archetype in the human brain. It's the same pattern, but when it comes to when I'm talking about multidimensionality, I'm talking about like the polarity, the paradoxes that make up our world and our reality.
Hmm.
Peace and chaos. What was it? What's another good one?
Yin yang?
Like yin and yang. Yeah, exactly. Something like that. The paradoxes and contrasts that make up our reality, that are, while being polar opposites of one another, they actually coexist together.
Hmm. Now, why is this like important? Like, why do like people need to care about this? Like, how does this like impact our lives?
So I say this has all the more of an impact on our lives because unfortunately in modern day society, especially nowadays in a post COVID era, we are definitely surrounded by a lot of people who are one note or one trick ponies, or just one dimensional. The quote unquote normies, if you will. They do the 9 to 5 jobs. They work 8, maybe 9, 10 hours, whatever, and then they spend the last 6 hours awake, just eating, watching Netflix, whichever, not taking care of their health, etc.
Hmm.
Or
Now,
they're only focused on the thing. That's it.
mhm. No, I hear you on that. But okay, so I'm curious because you seem really passionate about this. Where did this stem from? Like, how did you originally even started to take this in as, like I guess a way of life or a way of thinking? Like, where did this originate from in your experience?
Okay, so to kind of dive it into context a little bit, I was always kind of fat. I was always naturally like a curious boy. So
Hmm.
like for instance, I'm a movie guy, but I also like tinkering with technology. So I was fascinated by like what's artistic, what's technological, diving into like all these different perspectives or whatever. And I definitely want to get out and travel more. And speaking of, I'm actually traveling to Tokyo next week. I haven't been there in 12 years,
Yeah. Wow.
but basically, I don't know. I had this like natural curiosity to study more. So even from the technological side, I was already kind of in my years in university. I was pondering at the idea of like tech is very multidisciplinary. It's not just
Mm,
one thing. Like sure, you go to university, you major for one major, but it's like you are still going to be like I did electrical engineering, but I'm still collaborating with like aerospace engineers, mechanical engineers,
mm,
programmers, all of that because there's different applications in how we use it. Like a plane, you need the mechanics to build the exterior of the plane, the electronics to run the aviation electronics, the avionics. The programmer, you also need to work with them on collaborating with the software. The
mm.
aerospace, they check to make sure like yeah, all of these are fitting in the technical requirements and also with what was it flight regulations. So
Mm,
it's all multidimensional.
mm,
So it's all interconnected with one another, and that was like what made it interesting was like even the interconnectedness of tech. I'm like, this makes way too much sense, and even the artsy side. I started journeying into filmmaking in 2022, and then I'm like, wait a minute, but they use filmmaking standards for music videos. They do still use photographic standards for what was it for photography. They try to make the best cinematic shot possible, and I'm like, okay, you know what? This makes too much sense to not do. I'm just like, I'm just gonna do it.
mm.
But at the deeper level, beyond like profession and career and all that, multidimensionality, I'd say, speaks to like the collective human consciousness, something that Jung would talk about,
Mm.
where
Who who was the
where
person?
like they oh what was that?
You said somebody said it. You said Young.
Carl Jung, yeah,
Oh, Carl Young. Okay, yeah.
where he believed that God is really the collective human consciousness. But in doing so, and with that kind of interpretation, how we are acting our will through God, which kind of makes sense when you look at it in the even in the Old Testament and the text that derive from it, the Torah, the Quran, the Bible, about how we are enacting our will through God. It's like a feedback loop almost.
Mm.
The imperfect mortals versus the one immortal divinity still acting there through one another
Mm. Wow, that's deep.
and diving into like peace and chaos and all those different like philosophical contrasts that affect our reality.
So so the viewers looking at this, okay, I know the main question they're gonna ask, they're gonna say, what is like obviously the knowledge is nice to have the wisdom and everything, but how can they apply this into their lives? Where
Okay,
it's like how I'm saying like how do you apply it in a way that it's not just like theory, but you're actually, does it make sense? Like you're helping yourself
yeah,
in some way. Yeah. Okay.
yes. Okay, so I would say for the guy's perspective, especially when it comes to say dating,
Mhm.
I would say understanding like what like the man is capable of. So like this is a standard that I have for myself as well. I think maybe some of the viewers here could take some notes on this. Like here's my standard. Like 1 minute I could be gentle, tender, generous. The next minute I could be like raw, untamed, and intense.
Hmm.
So like, and then when it comes to like that primal instinct, like the gentler side that I told you about, that's the protective side, the protector. But then the raw, untamed, intense side, that's the like however you want to call it, the beast, the animal within you, the hunter.
Hmm. So
So so I would say to actually apply that, I would say like just to kind of tie it back to my curious mindset is like just just be willing to learn new perspectives, and then of course take two take your 2 cents on it based on what makes sense for you. Like don't just like suck in all the content that like this kind of ties back to like even like dating coach content too. Like if you listen to like Andrew Tate or Fresh and Fit or whatever, or what's another one? What's another one? The whatever podcast. Like okay, sure, they might have some good points, but just take your 2 cents off of it and take in what makes sense for you. Don't just like soak it all in, but at the same time, be willing to also
Mm.
shift your mentality every now and then. Like just shift your mentality every day as much as you can.
Mm. And why is that important?
Because like with rigidity, because then you become rigid if you stick to
Mm.
your foundation. But and the risk with rigidity is it breeds complacency, and
Mm.
when you get
I see.
complacency, you get decay.
Mm. So let's say somebody is in this because there's going to be so many people looking at this and they're going to be like, this doesn't make sense, right?
Mm-hmm.
How can that person who's stuck in that one-dimensional way of living, I mean, obviously there's a simple answer, but let's go deeper in it. How can they snap out of that and to start valuing all these different variables, all these different things?
Okay, so I'm gonna give a personal example to tie into this. I used to live in Irvine, California, and grew up there for pretty much like most of my younger years. And then after I graduated university, I got a job out in San Diego.
Hmm.
That was a huge flux in my life at the time because, like, aside from outside circumstances, eventually my mentality began to shift. Where it was like San Diego is bigger than Irvine. Irvine's kind of like a bubble. Everybody just goes with the shall we say the natural order of things, if you will. Whereas San Diego, it's a huge county. There's the beach, there's nature, there's what was it? There's downtown city life over there. So I'm like trying to I was like trying to process this. I'm like, shit, I've got a new job all the way in San Diego. I'm gonna be moving out there, and I'm gonna be surrounded in a city that I'm not familiar with. And then I had to kind of really get out of like a mental rut that I was in at the time. I was like, what was it? I let's put it this way. I spent most of my 20s one track,
Hmm.
and there's a huge can of worms to unlock with that one. Some deep dark personal shit. But I was going one note, just get the degree, go to work, and that's it. And
Hmm.
then I go to this job, and then I go to San Diego, and I'm like thinking, oh shit, San Diego is a different city. The people there are different, so I don't have to associate them with all the bullshit that I
Hmm.
deal with in Irvine. So I'm like, okay, you know what? I want to see what San Diego. I want to see what San Diego has to offer for better or worse.
Hmm. I see. So keeping like an
So
open mind.
yeah, exactly. Keep an open mind and just have that explorer mentality. You know,
Hmm.
it's like a video game. You get that 100% map score.
Yes. Yes. Put my glasses back like this. Okay. Yeah. No, that's awesome.
so, so yeah,
Good.
just curiosity and basically live your life like you're always a student. There's that semblance of curiosity, but also humility.
I have a term for that. And actually, it's funny you say this, Eric. First of all, this is synchronicity. Some of the things you have mentioned, I literally just had conversations with people in my inbox about some of the things you just mentioned right here. So that's incredible. But I call this the white belt mentality.
The what mentality?
White belt.
White belt. Oh yeah, white belt mentality.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. So it doesn't matter. I've been there, like I used to do jujutsu and like I remember my sensei said, even when you reach a black belt, that's when the game just starts. That's when you finally that's when you actually start learning. Before
Yeah.
that, it's like, before that it's like, it's like great. It's like before that is uh pre-puberty. And then when you reach your black belt, aha, now the game starts.
Yeah. Exactly. It's like it's one of those times where you think you know so much, but then you find out I really don't know much.
It's so funny, yeah. Eric, what was your and I'm gonna dig a little like into this, and you if you don't feel uncomfortable, you just let me know. But what was your upbringing like, and also what's your ethnicity? I want to guess. I'm gonna say something Asian, but that's just am I right? Okay.
Yeah, Asian, but guess what, Asian?
Guess what, Asian? Oh shit. Okay, I can I can say this. I can say. It's not Chinese, okay? I already know it. It's not Chinese. I have a lot of Chinese friends. You're not Chinese. It's see, like you said, I think you said Tokyo earlier. I think that was a hint. I think maybe Japanese, but I was gonna say Taiwan. Oh, okay,
No, you got Japanese.
let's stop right there. Okay, good. I got it. Cool. All right. I was about to go like Taiwan. I was gonna say Laos, Hmong, and like throw other, you know,
Hey, I've gotten Filipino before just because of my skin has gotten
yeah,
tanner over the years.
I have Philippines and Vietnamese friends, so there was certain countries that I was like, you're definitely not that. Yeah.
So I'm actually half Japanese. That's from my mother, and then my dad's side that's actually a cocktail of European, German, Swedish, English, and Scottish.
Damn, bro.
So that means I'm half white, so I had a friend in San Diego actually where we made this joke where it's like you're half white, you're half Japanese, but you're 100% kunk.
Oh, I get it.
So
Yeah.
I'm like, yeah, I'd say that. But hey, I got the tall jeans and I can hold my liquor.
Good. Okay, good. Yeah, that's fun. Yeah, the tall jeans, right? Yeah, you like a giant, Godzilla. But Eric, what was your upbringing like? Because you mentioned that you were one-dimensional for a period of time, right? And then something
Yeah,
must have changed.
yeah. So my upbringing was very tumultuous. Let's put it that way. Um, when I was what was it? For a while, my parents were married, but then when I was about 6 years old, I watched both of them get divorced before my eyes. That was a long day that I thought it would never end.
Hmm.
And then the next 12 years, growing into my what was it, 18 years old, like up until high school graduation, it was a lot of you're just like your mom, you're just like your dad, and I'm like, it's like I didn't even know who I was at that point. So I was kind of just going with the flow as best as I could, just survive. And then basically the mentality was, if I'm not safe, like we all know the outside world is like full of like dangerous shit out there, but if I'm not safe at home, I'm not safe anywhere.
Hmm.
That was basically the mentality of um of like I had to grow up fast.
Hmm. Wow. Is it fair to say you had a challenging, like more challenging than other people with their childhood?
I would say some more challenging, some probably had it worse.
I see. Now, obviously, we can't do a parallel study. We can't create a time machine. But do you feel like if you were more multidimensional when you were a kid, do you think your life would have been different?
Probably not because what was it? Kids, because like you know how kids are. They're very simple. They learn right from the get go about like the intersocial dynamics of like let's let's put it this way. Everything even past public school is still going to be a popularity contest.
That's so true. Yeah, that's so true.
So that being said, I think if I was if I was more multidisciplinary as a kid, probably it would not have changed that much because you know how humans are. Like if there's an outlier or anomaly, they're gonna point that out. Like oh this kid's the weirdo. He's into all this weird shit.
And so yeah, you're sticking to the choir. Yes, yeah.
So I don't think it would have been that much different. But I mean, and as for like the time machine part, I'm like, you know what? At this point, I don't want the fucking time machine.
Yeah. Yeah. Because it would change you, right? You would be different now. You wouldn't be in this podcast. You'd be a different man.
Yeah, exactly. And I wouldn't be where I am now if it wasn't for what happened previously.
Hmm. Now, when you were mentioning, the different multidimensional, it sounds very similar to something called the Hermetic Law, which comes from the Kabbalah from Aleister Crowley. I'm not sure if you have heard of that.
Hermetic. I'm not too familiar with that one. No.
Okay. I'm actually gonna give me 1 second because this is like around maybe the same, not same. I don't want to say same, but it is very similar. Give me 1 second. Let me just get there's like a big symbol and stuff. Let me just see this real quick. Of course, now I can't find it. You know, just 1 moment. Are you into magic?
Am I into magic?
Not Magic the Gathering.
Let's see, magic. I would say there is a spiritual element to our existence
Hmm.
because the journey externally is very much also a internal one.
Hmm. Wow, this is deep. That's really deep. I'm gonna share my screen for 1 moment. Let me know if you can see it. All right, let me know if you can see my screen.
It's loading, loading, loading. Yep, I see it.
Okay. Have you seen this before?
No, I have not seen this before.
This is really cool. I will look into it.
Holy moly!
Yeah. Listen, this is like Eric, you're gonna love this. Everything you just mentioned. Yeah, this like yeah, you're gonna love this, bro. Okay, I'm serious. I've been doing magic my entire life since I was born, but I just got into this recently from a few colleagues. I mentioned our call and they were like, "Oh my God, Armin, you like magic?" I was like, "Brother, do you even look at my stories?" But yeah, I will look into this. This is very, very interesting. So the things you're saying, Eric, there are people out there that are practicing this in different cults and different places. Now, I'm not talking about like Satanism and shit like that. But
Yeah.
is this something that you have just kept like in your own mind, in your own practice, or do you actively use this, not just in your own life, but do you actively use it to get to places? Like to, again, we haven't talked about manifestations and things like that, but because this is power, right? How do you apply this technology or instruments or power, or even if it is instruments, how do you apply this in your own life?
So like I mentioned, always curiosity. So that means I always try to dig deeper, and always try to internalize what I'm doing. I'm like thinking, is there a purpose to this?
Mhm.
Does this align with what I believe in,
Mhm.
what I aspire to? So I'll give an example. Is I like to do so when I started filmmaking, as an example, I started diving into screenwriting. Well, actually, let me rewind a little bit. So, of course, as I mentioned before, I'm a movie buff. But then eventually, as I got older, I'm like, you know what? I've been analyzing. I've been analyzing them over and over. I'm like, why does this shot matter? Why does what is the what was it? What is the significance of keeping this scene here? How does it tie to the themes or the so you see the anti themes of this film? So then I get a little bit more analytical about it, the cinematography, the directing, how they do it, and everything. So then it starts to paint the picture in my head as I'm watching the motion picture in
Mhm.
front of me. So then I start to do screenwriting, and I'm like thinking, wow, this is where I have to really really dig deep,
Mhm.
because now I'm like thinking about what themes do I want to explore, what kind of messages am I trying to put into this. It's both cathartic, or and actually more cathartic than therapy,
Mhm. Wow.
but also it's also very meditative into thinking like, okay, what what am I as a man trying to build up to? What does this say about my subconscious nature?
Mhm. Just to clarify for myself, are you mentioning stuff like the different colors, like in like right, when you're filming, different colors in it to encompass like different emotions, like different angles? Is that what you're saying, like from filmmaking?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, exactly. Like the use of color theory, what that subconsciously says to us, and like what angle are you trying to communicate? Like if it's like a wide shot, I'm like, okay, is this supposed to be dramatic or is it a close up shot meant to be intimate?
Hmm. That's so cool. I'm actually I love what you said. I won't say I'm a huge movie buff, but I've seen a lot of movies and I'm really big into character development. Like The Walking Dead, well, that's not a movie, but still. I really like American History X, I really love I like watching a movie where I end up either getting pissed off at the end or cry or end up crying.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes.
Are
So
you the
so
same way?
so for screenwriters especially, if and this is coming from personal experience too, if your writing does not scare you or make you well up, your writing just sucks.
Yeah, that's so true. Do you have any, I'm sure you do, but do you have any movies that you recommend that really captured this and also guys can use this as a way for themselves to kind of like expand their mind as they're watching it?
Okay, so I would highly recommend watching. This might be a polarizing filmmaker. I would highly recommend watching Zack Snyder's DC movies, Man of Steel, Batman versus Superman, and the 4 hour Snyder cut of Justice League. It's not just like superheroes and like explosive battles. It's like, no, this is like deep, intense character reflection. And that the setting has a purpose behind what kind of theme are we trying to explore here? Man of Steel, Tale of Identity, Batman versus Superman, Tale of Legacy and Redemption, and what was it? The Snyder Cut of Justice League. That's a 4 hour tale or epic of unity and synchronization.
Mm. Is this like
I
that?
also yeah yeah, and you could find them all on HBO Max. And then I would also recommend watching anything by and pretty much anything by Peter Jackson, especially like the Lord of the Rings trilogy, King Kong. What was it? And also, and this is really up to everybody else if they want to. Um, if you're gonna watch Star Wars, only watch 1 through 6. Only 1 through 6, because that has like because like beyond like the action adventures in space or whatever or lightsabers, it's about diving into all the like the deep thematic recurring patterns and generational what was it patterns we see in history, how history tends to repeat itself
Mm.
either on the grander scale or you as a person.
Wow. Do you like how do you see the value in things? Like when you see something, okay, that happens in your life, how are you able to conceptualize this and be like, wow, like this is something that I want to tap into? Or versus something benign happens and you're like, you know what? I don't need to focus on this.
It's kind of a complicated it's not really it's well, it's not really something that you just well, I don't know how to articulate that into words, but it's not really something you articulate and logic your way through. It's kind of something you just feel in your gut. It's trusting your gut.
That's a good explanation, man.
It's trusting the gut essentially.
Yeah.
And I would say especially as a guy, especially it's easy for us to like logic our way through this because that's our forte, our gut instinct. But at the same time, it's like your gut feeling is what's guiding you. You're like thinking like, do I really feel good about this?
Hmm.
Is this really beneficial? Is this really like what kind of impact could this have?
Hmm. So, in some way, would you say it's wise to live life from the perspective of why? Something happens, why? Why did this happen? Or why is this the way it is?
Yeah, because then especially like I'll give an example especially in the concept of dating. It's like let's say you walk up to a girl or something, and then you realize, oh shoot, the interaction didn't go so well. So then if you look back at it and try to see what happened, then you're looking at your own experiences from the outside looking in and in retrospect.
Hmm.
So then you're thinking, oh, I probably shouldn't have done that, or I probably should have projected better, or I should have slowed. I probably should have slowed my speaking down.
Actually, that's very interesting. And I want to tap into this. Have you, so I love what you said, okay? And actually, this is something where I personally have a lot of chatter in my mind, like a lot. And this is not from like anxiety, discomfort. No, no, I'm just a crazy motherfucker. I have a lot of chatter in my mind. So when I speak to women, sometimes I have to course check myself. So in the middle of the conversation, I can literally depersonalize and look myself from the outside in and tell myself, Armin, bro, like you look like, like you're hunchback. Like make your back a little bit stronger, okay? Or
Yeah,
Armin, you're talking too fast. Like shut up. Like let her speak. Um, and the way I'm able to do this is, and I'm not trying to steal your thunder. I just want to add on to this.
no, you're good.
But the way I'm able to do this is I I do a lot of breath work. So as I'm talking to her, I'm always only focused on my nervous system. Okay. I lack of better words, I don't really care about her. I only care about myself. Obviously, there's certain things I care, obviously. But mostly I care about my breathing because something I've learned, and this actually happened the moment I started my company and I started dive deeper into cold approach and like actually just being really weird, being really awkward and saying, what can I do in this absurd world? And then what something I discovered is that the more I'm able to keep myself grounded, and I'm not using the word grounded in a pickup artist way, but just keep myself chill and grounded with Mother Nature and Gaia. What I'm able to do is I'm able to not only tap into my authentic self like this, but women, the feminine, they see this. They see my aura, my energy. So something I like to do is I like to go out and cold approach when I don't have like a fresh cut. When I look like a bum from like, down the street. Okay, obviously I still smell nice, my hygiene's on point. But when I go up to a woman, when I look visiting her line, like big poofy, looks like pubes on my face or whatever. When I go and approach them, what happens is a lot of women, okay, and I'm not saying this to brag. However, a lot of women will tell me, like after I grab their number, we go on a date. I'll be like, bro, I call my girls bros, bro. Um, like, how were you attracted to me when I look like Smeagol from Lord of the Rings? Okay, and then they're like, what are you talking about? Like, all I saw, all I noticed was your eyes, your lips, and your aura. And I'm like, I mean, I'm not gonna lie, it's a nice compliment. Stop it. Okay, thank you. But it's just it's it's very, very magical. Where in the moment you kind of like alternate your adjust your frequency. Okay?
Yeah.
Is that something I'm sure, is that something that you have experienced before yourself, or what are your thoughts on what I just mentioned right there?
No, it actually makes sense. It actually makes sense in like in the uh in the almost abstract sense, but also in the primal sense too. Because like for women, look, notice like when they're like aside from putting all their time into like doing their makeup, their hair, the perfect outfit, their prior one of their gut instincts is the looks, the visual.
Is the
Because but like and notice too, as a side note, notice how for I was gonna dive into this. Notice how sometimes when a woman roasts a dude or whatever, like some one of the most easiest roast is like you're fat, you have a small dick or whatever. It's the surface level shit.
Yeah.
You see what I mean? It's like the surface level shit because like they're focused on like the surface level for themselves too. The makeup, the hair, the outfit,
Mm.
the heels, the colors, everything. So it makes sense. And then also in terms of aura, because it's like you didn't. So I want to try to maybe chime in a little bit. I'm guessing it's because when you mentioned like you had like cubes and you kind of looked like Smeagol from Lord of the Rings. I take it that was the mentality of I'm not really trying to impress anybody. I don't really care what happens. would you say that would be the what was it? Not lack of, but like you don't have outcome dependence.
Yes, you're correct.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah, you're correct. Damn it, Eric. Okay, you told all my clients now why I was doing that. No, I'm kidding. But Mm. But I've done this social experiment multiple times where I'll go to. Oh, by the way, Eric, did you have more to say? I don't want to cut you off.
No, 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 no. That's what I was asking you. If like if looking like a bum, but you're still able to attract women comes from a lack of like not really so much lack of self care, but just the mentality of like I'm not really trying to impress anybody. I don't really
Yeah,
care what happens. This is just a bonus.
yeah, it's bonus. Yeah, it was a bonus. A good experiment, okay, is, and you could do this in different, not so much cultures, but you could do this in different, oh, whatever. I'll just say it. So I went to like this luxury apartment complex called Avalon. Have you heard of that?
I think so. Is that in Los Angeles?
It's all around America. Avalon condos.
Well, Avalon sounds familiar. Like Avalon, Avalon apartment homes. Yeah,
Yeah, that's exactly. Yeah, it's just like luxury, like West End or whatever. But anyway, so I went over there. I went there twice. Okay, first time I went there, I was dressed like like in college. Now, I'm actually not even that nice. I deliberately bagged my pants, made my ass crack show. I deliberately just wore like a plain shirt. I didn't wear my watch or whatever. I looked. I don't look. I looked poor. And I went in there, and it was weird. Nobody opened the door for me. Nobody greeted me. When I was talking to them, they wouldn't even make eye contact. They would look away. Okay, it was really I was pissed, I was annoyed. But that was a social experiment. And then next time I went there, like a few months later, I went there all decked out, tailored, looking fresh and cut, looking nice with the same 2006 Toyota Corolla. And when I pulled up there, they opened the door for me. Oh, hi, sir. How's it going? Blah, kissing my ass left and right. And
yeah.
it was just so one-dimensional where judging me based on just the book, based on just the exterior of what they see.
Yeah.
Okay. How can an individual like that being very, and you could chime in if you have anything, but how can an individual like that on their end, who is really judgmental, and they're watching this podcast and they're like, okay, I know, I know I'm like a douche and I want to become better. How does someone like that who's into gossip, rumors, into always like projecting the bullshit onto others, how can they tap into this and become more free and more open-minded?
Okay, so the way to look at it, especially with judgment is I've actually been saying this a lot. I've actually been saying this a lot recently too, is that if you're not ready to take it, you have no business dishing it out.
Mm.
So and also your focus does determine your reality. If you're focused on like the external shit, then don't be surprised if all you get is external shit. It really is one of the universal laws of you get what you give.
Mm.
Like so, if you give off the impression, if somebody gives off the impression of judgment or whatever, then it's like, I mean, don't be surprised if your interactions are cut short or surface level. Um, like you know what I mean? Just don't be surprised because you haven't expanded your mentality yet. And same thing with judgment, you're boxing somebody in. And for better or worse, judgment can be positive or negative.
Mm. That's really true.
So I'm gonna give another example to chime in here.
Never.
I mentioned I'm also a fashion photographer, videographer. I actually came back from San Diego a couple of days ago at the Hard Rock for Nalu Bay swimwear. But something that I noticed that I sometimes I like to journal a little bit of like, and sometimes I find myself repeating the same entry for fashion photography where I was like I notice time to time, like my gut instinct is when I'm like shooting with models or whatever, I typically do not like on principle, I typically do not ever compliment them on their looks, like at all.
Mm.
So like it kind of ties back to the very first shoot that I ever did in San Diego in October 2023. This freelance model, but she's trying to be a designer, and we were already friends for 2 years, surprisingly. So she said, "Heads up, I'm a little nervous about showing a sexy side because I hadn't done this in a little while." So, and I said, "Don't worry, this is my first shoot. We're not going to do anything crazy." So I let her pose on her own. The most I did was for the sake of like comfortability or like like if her foot's in an awkward place, I'm gonna like micro direct her.
Hmm.
So that's how I've operated as a photographer. Just like let her pose on her own in varying comfort levels, and then I micro direct it. But if she's already like a pro at posing on her own and she knows how to like flow in between and just move, then I'm like, okay, that actually makes my job easier by that point.
Hmm.
So how would that tie how does that tie into what we're talking about judgment or whatever? Because especially women who get into modeling, they get categorized positively or negatively, judged positively or negatively. Either they're super sexy, gorgeous, hot, whatever, or and I had to deal with a friend who has opinions about women who get into modeling, either vain, shallow, entitled, privileged, blah blah blah. And
Like,
I'm like,
whoa.
yeah. So either way, like if someone if I hear a fellow photographer say, that looks hot and sexy, I'm just cringing inside. I'm like, Jesus Christ. Or if I had to hear a homie say vain, shallow, entitled, privileged again, I'm just like, dude, come on, man. Do you not realize how judgmental you sound? So judgment is positive or negative because either way you're
Hmm.
boxing somebody in. You're not letting humanity radiate. You're not letting authenticity radiate.
Store heart. Yeah. Hmm. Did you have more to say, Eric? I feel like you do.
And to kind of as a little footnote to add to this, and for Carl Jung's belief in like the archetypes or whatever, that same study ended up passing into Joseph Campbell when he started writing the hero's journey. So there's all these different archetypes of the different characters that you will run into in the mythological hero's journey. But humanity, as it shows us through Carl Jung, is like it's we it's basically what story we tell ourselves or how it's going to play out is basically through us.
Hmm. His
So
story.
you could be the warrior or the lover, or you could be the fool, the athlete, whichever. It's it's humanity. It's multidimensional. It's all encompassing. It's interconnected. It's not just one. It's not one thing or the other.
Hmm.
So
So,
that being said, if someone is judgmental and they want to get out of the one trick recurring what was it recurring cycle of change, I think. Yeah, I think that's what Nietzsche called it. You got to change this.
hmm. That's why they call it his story.
Yeah, exactly, his story. Yeah.
No, that's cool. I have like 50 more questions for you. You just expanded my mind. Um, Carl Jung, is Carl Jung and Carl Jung, are they two different people, or I'm just ignorant?
Carl Jung is the same guy. Young. So it's Jung. It's I think it's a German name. Yeah,
Okay,
because it's the Jung for J.
interesting. Okay, that actually makes sense. Because when he said that, I was like, wait, is it Carl Jung? Like I used to tell everyone Carl Jung, but okay, that makes sense. Actually, there's a lot. I'm not gonna lie, man. I'm so hyped. I have so many 50 more questions for you, but I love what you said about judgment. Now, there's something that I teach my clients, and I don't want to like talk about my coaching and stuff, but something I teach all my clients is that be more curious about someone's actions before you judge them. Actually, don't judge them at all. So, like, let's say, for example, okay, let's say, you're talking to a beautiful, whatever, talking to a woman and she rejects you, okay, she's not interested in you, whatever. Some guys, the ones who are in the lower frequencies, they're gonna judge her. Oh, she's a slut. Oh, she's this, she's that, or even judge themselves. oh, I'm ugly, I'm smiggle, whatever. They're going to say all these negative shit. And then what happens is that they enter hatred. Hatred of self is one of the worst. As a man who has lost nine homies from suicide, um, it's the worst, lowest frequency can possibly be. Because once you kill yourself, you'll ruin the lives of everyone around you. But judgment also, when you're judging somebody else, what happens is that you escape your own responsibilities. You escape your own vulnerability because now you're projecting something else onto this person. However, if that individual, and you've seen my post online, I get a lot of hate, but if that individual is more curious about where is this person coming from, and also not just where they're coming from, but why are, I like the why question. Why are they feeling so triggered? I get triggered a lot by my haters. You guys now know I get triggered by you. But when they trigger me, I always wonder like, where's this guy coming from? Why is he going out of his way to say all these dumb shit against me? And then once I see that, I realize that, oh, it's envy, jealousy, or maybe a misunderstanding of dialogue. And then actually, believe it or not, Eric, I've actually made a lot of friends just from coming from a place of curiosity and actually like talking to them. And sometimes even just manning up and apologizing. Hey, sorry, bro. I came off the wrong way. My bad. Cool. We start talking now, then we build a friendship. So anyways, all this to say that what do you think of the concept of obviously I think you already answered this, but to be have a curious mindset. No, actually, hold on, let me go back. How do you handle not getting triggered by not only let's speak about women, okay? How do you work on not getting triggered by women to have more of a curious mindset? How would that makes any sense? How would that work?
Okay. Okay, so to kind of put this answer into context, my mentality now is that when it comes to handling rejection from women, it, so the easy answer for me would be to say, oh, we just didn't align. It wasn't well. I like to joke with the whole like it wasn't meant to be,
Hmm.
but yeah, but basically it just means like we didn't click, and that's okay because because I don't know if this is considered a bad or a good thing because I wouldn't say I'm a nihilist, but my mentality is more fatalistic in the sense of like we acknowledge, like it's just like simply acknowledging life is impermanent. Like life is impermanent, and you just gotta continue rolling with the punches afterwards. So, and also that for a guy's perspective, that there are worse things than getting rejected by a woman. Way worse things, i.e., your homie screws you over.
Hmm.
That's worse.
That's so true. Hmm.
Like what was it? Because like they always say like for brotherhood between men, that's supposed to be like an ironclad contract. But
Hmm.
if that gets but and I have a history of homies screwing me over either like deliberately or unwittingly or just because they were just spineless and let everybody else walk all over them and say no, do this.
Hmm.
So I have a whole history of that, and that already put into perspective. This is worse than what was it? Than getting rejected by a woman because like that's those were the moments in life that actually used to piss me off, and especially when it comes to brotherhood or loyalty between homies. If I pretty much that does actually kind of piss me off sometimes. That actually kind of flares up like my fight or flight instinct. If I hear like a sense of like weakness or spinelessness, especially in conflict, I'm like, oh, I'm getting a bad feeling about this guy.
Hmm. And that's your gut, right?
Yeah, it's my gut.
Hmm. Yeah, that's interesting.
And that even extends into normal day-to-day behaviors too. Like if he can't project his voice or if his handshake is so limp and weak.
Wait, so hold on a second. I'm just gonna
if,
challenge
if,
you
if
here. Yeah,
if his
I
handshake
think
is limp and weak.
yeah, I know. I have to work on my handshake. Yeah, it's like a zombie. But isn't this judgment, Eric? Aren't you judging him?
Way, I guess I am because like you said, it's gut feeling. that from trained life experience saying, what was it? Yeah, this guy's subtle behaviors are a reflection of his mentality, but that doesn't mean it can't be nurtured. So if I just so if I just brush it off as like this guy's a fucking spineless pussy or whatever, probably screwed over his own homies. That's my gut instinct telling me that, but I don't know this guy's story, so I never gave it a shot to be like, yeah, he he never gave it a I never gave it a shot to like give like okay like does this guy actually have more to him than just the surface level I'm looking beyond.
That makes sense. That's a fair point. And actually, I respect what you said because you're going based on your life experiences, right?
Yeah,
And that's if you don't live like that, then you're just a fool, right?
yeah,
Right? If you don't take in the things you have learned, the value you have gained from all this knowledge and wisdom, then what the fuck's the point? Okay, so I
yeah.
totally get it.
So the only reason I make a big deal about like a guy who's able to project his voice or a guy who's able to give like a strong handshake because with with a loud projected voice you show like he's showing conviction, willpower, and passion. With the handshake he's not only showing strength but he's showing intention. He his mind and body are connected.
That's true. He's here versus, and actually that's a really good point. That's actually very cool. I'm so, first of all, Eric, I love you, brother. I love you more. First, I loved you from saying the multidimensional stuff, okay, like in the chat. And then I
Yeah,
hit you up for this call, but now I love you even more. Like I'm getting a bromance with you, brother. That you mentioned the loyalty thing. I have a loyalty, and all my friends watching this, you already know who you are. If you cut from my life, you know who you are. But um, I have a loyalty check, okay? And this is I'm gonna just mention this. Hold on, let me choose my words in here. I'm feeling a little insecure, okay? But I'm just gonna share it anyway. So back in the day, back in the day, I was an asshole. And we would have still become friends because loyalties from day one. That's a different story. I'll say in a second. But I was just my integrity was a little. It was bad. I'm not gonna lie. It was bad. And the reason it was bad was this. Once I realized I love the cat and mouse game with women. Okay, it's so fun. Okay, I love them when they challenge me. I don't believe in shit test, but if they challenge me or whatever, I'm like, whoa, excited. Okay, because now she's trying to like, bust my balls, and I'm a ball buster. I love that. I'm like, yeah, bring it on. I love dark humor, like, I love that shit. So if she's, yeah, I'm crazy. If she's like busting my balls, I love it. But there's a limit though. Okay, if she's doing it to the point that is toxic, then no, I'm not a fan of that. However, if she's doing it in a playful sense and we both know this is coming from a loving place and we're being playful, I like that. That's sexy. That's why I got into the game. I love that shit. It's honestly it's like a high. Okay, I love to chase that high. Now, anyways, that being said, back in the day when I got really deep into going out to clubs, meeting women, and getting good at it too. What happened is that with my friends at the time, we would deliberately go for women that had husbands and boyfriends. And we had this whole strategy. I'm not gonna sit here and like, you know, teach other people to how to become monsters, but we had a whole strategy. Like, I'm not kidding, brother. Like, I'm talking about like it was so nerdy. It was my idea too. Okay, because I'm a nerd. We will all like before we go out, a pregame was strategy. So I'm serious. We would have a whiteboard, okay? Like me here, my boy sitting there. I'm not even kidding. Like we will like, okay, guys, three set, this, and this, and then we would have like gang signs. So I would look over like in a club. I would look over like this, okay? And then he would know, okay, he needs to go cockblock this guy, even though he's the husband. And then I had other things too, and I don't want to. I will say one of them. I don't want to say too much about it. This is a really hot topic from a lot of toxic people, and I don't teach bullshit. So I will say one thing. This is the way. This is how I did my thing. It was and I love what you said. It was all about shaking hands. See how synchronicity, how we're connecting is cool. So when I shook the guy's hand, okay, it would just be like, like I was firm, okay? Firm, like this. When I shook her hand, I would have a little extra squeeze in there, okay? And then if she squeezed back, now everything I talked about was an innuendo. So if I whatever I said, I was mind fucking her. I was literally eating her pussy right in front of her husband and just having a bro conversation. And then my friends will come into at some point. We had like the temperaments, we had the body language. If the guy's shoulders look this way or this way, if the guy's chin goes whatever, we broke everything down to like a really, really psychotic level. And then my boys would come in, they would talk to him, and then we would box him out. So I could this was spontaneous isolation because we couldn't isolate, obviously. So, by the way, does this terms make sense to you?
Yeah, yeah.
Okay, cool. All right, just let me know, okay? But so then one of my friends would box him out. So he would talk to him, and we will all talk about anime, sports, whatever. No, all the fun shit, okay? We get him riled up, maybe even get him drunk. And then my boys will like literally like, yo, bro, let's go to the bar, okay? And then they'll go to the bar with him, and then I'm with his girl. Okay, or there with his girl, whatever. Anyways, we had the whole strategy about this, but then karma hit me. The moment I got a girlfriend, okay, the moment I got in a monogamous relationship, and this was in the past. I don't really talk about my exes publicly, it's just no one's business. However, the woman that I used to date back when I started the company, I was gonna marry her and all that stuff. But then something happened. When we went to clubs and bars, and when I was in the bathroom, because guys have no balls, like guys are gonna come up to me with my girl. When I go to the bathroom, I would always see some of my friends or other guys that were friends, or again, the vultures that were just like with their drinks, like just watching from afar like this. As soon as I go to the bathroom, those guys will come in to try to hit on my girl. But they fucked up though, because all my girls also have excellent game. We'll have by game I mean like attractive qualities, right? So we all have the subtleness. All my women, they all know how to read men. And I teach them this stuff too in a different advanced level that I don't teach clients. So all my girls, they know what's up, okay? Loyalty check on point. But the guys would try to flirt with her. And then as soon as I come from the bathroom, poof, they'll disappear. But I'm a person that I will check you in person. I will point blank period tell you, hey bro, stop trying to hit on my girl. Like where the hell is your girl? Okay, stop trying to hit on my girl. And then after that, I would cut all those snakes out. Okay, but then I realized that I was like, oh shit, I'm the guy who attracted this to myself. Albeit I do want to take responsibility. I feel like me being such an asshole in the past and trying to be a home wrecker, that attached my frequency to other men who were home wreckers. Okay. And I didn't like that. I was like, you know what? This is not the kind of life I want to have. So then real quick, I just want to mention this one, Eric, this one's really cool. So what I did, so I do magic, okay? And I'm not talking about magic cards, but I do magic and this is just funny. When I say that, it's funny. But okay, so I was so pissed off, bro. I did some magic and I used I don't want to get into my techniques, but I use my tears to do a lot of good stuff. So so anyways, I did some magic, light some candles. I only needed one for this one. And then I I manifested to have a new friend, but I want this guy to be gay, okay? I want to make a new best friend who's gay, who's not gonna hit on my girl, okay? So I did all this manifestation and stuff, and then in the middle of my manifestation, I saw a crow, but I've never seen a crow. And my apartment at the time, I was on the third floor, like story high. There's no birds around there, okay? But this crow came. I wish I took a picture so I can like prove it to people. But a crow came to my windowsill and it just made eye contact. Okay, that means your wish is granted. The next few days later, I took a nap. In the middle of my nap, I have a lot of like angelic voices in my head. Okay, I'm not schizo, but it's really cool. So in my mind, God told me that Armin, get up right now and go to the bar across the street. And the way I talk to God, we're homies. I'm like, listen, bro, I'm trying to sleep. Okay, stop bugging me. That's how I talk to God. And then God was like, no, Armin, you have to get up right now and you have to go. Just trust me, brother. Go and walk across the street, but don't drive your car. The bar was like 15-minute walk, 2-minute drive, 15-minute walk. Fine, whatever, cool. So I got my stuff ready. I was like, oh, this is pointless. This is so stupid. Why am I? And by the way, bro, it was like maybe like 4 or 5 p.m. Okay, like this is like daytime going to the bar. So I was like, why would I go? This is so pointless. But I was like, whatever. I always trust my gut. So I walked outside. I'm walking down to like, the bar. And then as I'm coming up to catching up to the bar, I see this guy smoking this really nice weed. And I make a comment. Okay. I'm that guy. You and I, Eric, we will be best friends. I think we already are. But I saw this guy, right? I saw this guy and I was like, yo, that's really dank. It smells nice. You smoke weed, right? Right?
Uh, every now and then I'll indulge,
Okay. Yeah.
and sometimes edibles.
I like those ones too. I like
I
that.
miss moon rocks though.
You know what?
I miss moon rocks though.
Oh, at first again, I thought you said you miss rocks. I was like, yo,
No, no, moon rocks. It's the
yeah, I
little
love
tar
those.
that you put in the bong. Yeah.
Powerful, bro. Holy shit. Yeah, that fucked me up, bro. Yeah, but I used to do that with Keith, shatter some flour, space dust, and then chase it down with a cartridge. Yeah, I'm a big pothead. Yeah, big pothead. Yeah, big pothead. Chase it down with a cartridge hit, and then take a few hits from the Puffco peak, and then
Hmm.
afterwards, whatever. I'm a huge pothead, but I haven't smoked in a while. I'm going through withdrawals personally.
Hmm.
But I'm working on detoxing. But anyways, oh, so this guy smoking his ganja, okay, is dank. I was like, yeah, that's it. It smells dank. The guy's like, yeah. So, anyways, I went inside. And then this is the thing. So, I won't get too much into it right now. I don't want to take away from your sunshine. Okay. So
No, you're good. You're good.
when I went to the bar, I closed my eyes and then I go, like when you close your eyes, it's all dark. Well, when I close my eyes, sometimes I'll see like lights, but they're not like lights in my eyes. These are actual people's energies. So I closed my eyes. I was like, hey, bro. God's my bro. I was like, hey, bro, where should I go sit? It's like, Armin, go sit over there. Cool. I went over there. I sat down. It was interesting. Okay. I was sitting right here. There was an open seat, and a few girls. I could have sat next to them, hit on them. They're pretty sexy. I was like, nah, whatever. I'm just gonna follow God's voice. And then next, I was sitting right here. There was an empty seat right here. There was a guy sitting here and another guy here. I could tell they were gay just from the way they interacted. Anyways, I sat down. This guy comes in. He sits right next to me. Okay, it's the same guy from outside, but he was wearing all black, and there was this ambiance with him. Like I felt familiar. I felt like this is his family. We start talking together. He tells me he's a witch. He tells me that he does magic. And then we start talking more. Oh, by the way, this was actually right before Christmas. And then this is like 3 years ago, by the way. No, actually, whatever, like 4 years ago, whatever, 5 years ago. Anyways, so he sits next to me. Okay, his name is Leo. Okay, we're friends to this day. What do you think his nickname is, Eric? And then you got to go back into my ritual about the thing I saw.
What's his nickname?
What animal did I see when I was doing my ritual?
A lion.
No, no, no. During my ritual, I said I saw an animal outside of my
Oh,
window.
the crow. The crow.
Yes, that's his nickname.
You call him crow?
His name is his name is the Crow. That's his nickname.
Oh shit.
Yeah, and he does magic and he's gay. And to this day, I hope he watches this, Leo. We're best friends.
Damn.
And he's very very mature, so he actually he taught me a lot of things like about just like because my relationship was toxic. I was toxic, she was toxic to some way. I think it was more mostly me. I'm not gonna throw shade on her end. I think I was a more toxic one personally, but my friend Leo would help me out. Like, Armin, this relationship is toxic, like blah blah, have conversations and stuff. And then the cool part was this, real quick. I like to boast, I like to brag a little bit. So I wanted to show him my power because we started talking about power and magic. So then what happened was this. I was supposed to leave in 20 minutes to go to like this Christmas party this guy was throwing down. And back in my mind, I was like, damn it, like I really wish I had more time because this guy is amazing. I don't want to leave right now. And then I looked at my watch, and then it was I think it was like I'm just gonna make it. I think it was like 4:15. Okay, no, it was yeah, whatever. It was like 4:15 p.m. Okay, and I had to leave by like let's say 4:35. Anyways, I looked at my watch, 4:15. Oh, damn it, I got 20 minutes left. I told him, Leo, I got 20 minutes left. Actually, yeah, I told him I had 20 minutes left, brother. I have to get going to a party. Cool. Talking more, drinking and stuff, blah blah blah. And then and then like and then I looked at my watch again. It was still 4:15. I was like, that's weird. And then we started continuing, keep talking and stuff, blah, blah, blah. Anyways, some time went on. I was like, all right, there's no way 20 minutes hasn't gone by. I looked at my watch, and my watch was still 4:15. And then we started talking more. And then, well, actually, once I had this realization, the time actually moved. It was like 5:15 or what, an hour went by. But it was strange because literally the time had stopped when I asked the time to stop. Because when I looked at my watch twice, it was the same time, 4:15, both times. However, his watch, when I looked at the second time, his watch was like 4:45, but mine was still stuck at 4:15. By the way, this is the same watch. Okay? And it was just so strange. And this is the thing, and I don't want to say too much about myself. However, I come from a family of seers. My specialty is calendars. I'm really, really damn good at manifestation. I'm like best friends with time, with a capital T. So that's like my power. I'm good at manifestation and like working with time. So which is really cool. Anyway, so I just want to brag, but I met my friend Leo, and he ended up being a really good friend. We're still friends to this day, and he ended up becoming one of my best friends. And then all those other guys who were just scumbags and stuff, they went out of my life. Some of them are still here. I won't say their names. They already know who they are. But if I lose respect in the individual, I can only regain it again if you man up and come and apologize to my face. But if you can't do that, it's a done deal. All right, I said too much, but go ahead.
No, you're good. You're good. You're good. I just wanted to hear a little bit. I wanted to hear where your perspective came in. Capital T with a capital T time to a T. Wow.
You like that? Yeah. Yeah. Well, if I may, so to me, time and space and all those things are different entities. They're not, time is not like there's two times. One is a lower capitalized T, that's like our time. And the other time, that's the entity that controls time. Okay,
Yeah.
so what was that movie? There was a movie where man, what was it called? Oh, Deadpool. Deadpool said it best. Deadpool has this, like the people that control the time.
Yeah.
That is
Oh
real,
wait,
but that's one
are,
entity. What
are you
happened?
talking about the one with Wolverine?
Yes.
Oh, the time variance authority.
Yes. So that's a real thing, but there's not like 50 people. It's just one. And it's not a human being. I hate when people say God in human image. That's like the most egotistical shit I've ever heard. But no, but this is like an entity. Anyways, but the point is you could actually, if you know the language of time, you can manifest things. You can have things come to you. And then your gut, your nervous system is alien, or extraterrestrial. Your gut will navigate you. You can't lose. Okay, you can't lose. It's really cool stuff. And then we mixed this into communication with women. The eyes, the soul, right? When I speak to people, even yourself, I'm not looking at you. I'm not looking at like half European, half Japanese. No,
Yeah.
I'm looking at your soul. I'm looking at who you are. Okay? That's the way I interact with human beings. I don't look at your skin color. I mean, obviously I do, but I don't look at your skin color. I don't look at your exterior. I look at your soul. I look at your love, the way you talk to me, the way you respect yourself and me and the people
Hmm.
around you. That's important. So it goes deeper than that. So I don't just talk. I talk to your soul. and I
Yep.
read people for a living, so I'm always hoping for someone to slip up. Yeah. Yeah, more. Again, I don't want to. I don't want to make
No,
it personal.
no, you're good. You're good. Like I wanted to hear a little bit more about the 2 cents you wanted to throw in there, and then when you mentioned what was it? When you mentioned speaking to the soul, and then talking about like your curiosity for multidimensionality, and then the fact that you mentioned like like how you have this like weird you have like this almost supernatural relationship with time. I'm like, oh shit.
Hmm. Okay.
There's another dude who has a similar mentality as me.
Eric, I'm serious, bro. When you said the multidimensional, I was like, okay, imagine like a nuclear missile. Okay.
Yeah.
I was like, yo, that's why. I was like, yo, not even just a podcast, brother, even friendship. I was like, I have to become friends with Eric. I have to. I hope. I'm not gonna lie.
So
I'm a little insecure. I was hoping that you wouldn't judge me from all the shenanigans I do.
no, and then I didn't care that you went on and on and on with your life story because I mean I kind of did that already.
Hmm.
So that being said, I'm like thinking like yeah I agree. I'd actually like to be friends with Armin.
Hmm. Thank you. Thank you. Hmm. I will answer your question though. You asked me something earlier. You said you want me to say my 2 cents about something.
No. That wasn't a question.
Oh,
I just
okay.
no. That was when you mentioned sorry if I talked too much. I was like no, you're good.
Excited too, brother. Okay, this is fine. Good. No, but real quick though, the multi-dimension. Actually, something you mentioned. You said that when you were younger, you were one-dimensional. I was different. I was multi-dimensional as a kid. I grew up in
Hmm.
views. I won't go into it right now, but I grew up in views. And when you see certain things when you're a kid, it shatters your reality. So the first lesson I ever learned in my life was lucid dreaming when I was 4 years old because I used to get
Hmm.
night terrors. I'll wake up, there will be things crawling on the ceiling. There will be things will say my name in the dark. Or even like, in school, like Armin. Okay, they will whisper my name. It was creepy, okay, goosebumps. But I've never had a nightmare. The last nightmare I had was 1994. I haven't had a one night. If I want a nightmare, I gotta ask for it. I gotta be like, hey, today I want to get a nightmare. And I promise you, it will be the creepiest dream ever. When you wake up, you go like, doop, 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 like, oh my God, I'm so glad I woke up from that because I lucid dream. So I'm actually there.
I so when I mentioned multi one dimensional at one point, I was referring to my 20s. But lucid dreaming, like the one that you mentioned before, not to the extent of like I want to get like a good dream, I want to get a nightmare. It's like it comes at random points in my life where I'll actually give my most recent one where like a few weeks ago I was asleep and then insane I had this insane dream where I was like where I was in the middle of a fashion show in the media zone with my tripod up, my video camera up, and then what was it? Then me and this model were kind of like vibing it out or whatnot, and then we exchanged contacts, and then her mom comes over. I like
What?
either of their faces. I couldn't even see it, but I was sonically hearing the ambient background noise, their voices, and then she's like saying, I don't think it's a good idea that you should
Mm,
be vibing with her. And then I said, okay, rest assured that my principle started kicking in. Rest assured that in I have no intention as a photographer of what was it, shitting where I eat or let alone causing any drama or was it or well actually quick aside with the whole judgment positive or negative judgment is dehumanization.
mm, that's a good one. Mm,
You're ignoring the humanity for the multidimensional interconnectedness of humanity with a surface level what's in front of you, the surface.
mm,
So basically, I told the mom I had no intention of like causing any drama or like any beef or any drama in any way. And then she in a way she kind of gave me her blessing because like her tone was very positive. And then how that dream ended, how that dynamic would move forward from there, I don't know. But that tells me like multiple different interpretations of like it's either my own mind battling between professionalism and what I really want, or it's my desires versus the what society expects.
This was a dream?
Yeah, this is a weird dream.
What a
And
dream
then
was
I was and then I was and then I had a call with my dad 2 days later. And then we were just like catching up and shit because he's all the way in Tokyo and I'm in America. And then I showed him what was it? Some of the video footage that I took at Las Vegas Swim Week at an after party in one of the rooftop pools. And then I showed him one of the videos that I took of like two models who were just being BFFs or whatever, and they were just kind of having fun, like you know, hopping to the music beat or whatever, like laughing, doing like what was it, doing this or whatever. And then and then out of nowhere he tells me, and then well actually I was at a Sedona, Arizona family reunion for my grandpa's 90th on in June. A lot of my relatives and even dad during my father during our call were like saying, "Huh, who knows? Maybe one of these days you'll probably end up dating one of these ladies."
Oh my God. Yo, that's powerful. Wow.
So I'm like, "Oh shit."
Is your
I
family
mean like
what?
So I mean, like, don't get me wrong, I'd love to, but at the same time, I do have to separate between professionalism and like rule number one, don't shit where you eat, and addendum number one that I added to this, do not shit in another dog's kennel.
That's true, actually. I like that one.
I've like for me personally, I've had a dog shit in my kennel before. It's not fun. It makes you question everything you've ever believed in.
Wait, like figuratively or literally?
Like to the core.
That's terrible. I got a few more questions for you, Eric, and then we do gotta. Actually, no, we're still good in time. Actually, no, we're good in time. We're good in time. I thought it was later than I thought. Um, is your family like into? I want to say multidimensional, but the wording is off. Is your family into the? You know what I'm saying same philosophy like yourself?
No, I don't think so.
We
My
say
my dad looks at the Bible, for example, as like a as a history text, which in a way it is,
yeah. True.
but it blends the myth and spirituality with the history.
Wow, oh wow.
That because like it talks about like archetypes or whatever. Like sure, in our world there we might not see like you know like the dragons or devils or demons and shit, but the archetypes are still there because we're living out these archetypes.
I'm glad you said this because
So like Jesus Christ, for example, was the guy who was the Messiah who broke the mold of history at the time, the Roman Empire, because like he was telling people, this is the word of God, but unfortunately the Romans did not believe that, so they paid Judas Iscariot, one of the disciples, for 30 pieces of silver, and he betrayed Jesus to the Romans. And then this is also where it comes into my fatalistic mentality, not necessarily in a cynical sense, but if Jesus was not betrayed by Judas, he never would have been resurrected. He never would have shown his disciples that he could perform miracles, that he was the Son of God.
hmm, is that
So
evil?
there is purpose in evil because evil will always exist. Like don't let's not kid ourselves. Evil exists, and we have to actually find purpose in it. You can't reach your apex without hitting your low point.
Hmm,
It's like a wave. Your apex and your low point.
hmm. 2 points. Archetypes and ego. I actually it's funny. It's so funny. You should join my next call. But I'm interviewing a man of Christ right after you. His neck tattoos and everything. Really cool guy. Um,
Yeah.
he's gonna talk about Jesus and stuff, and I'm gonna challenge his Bible. But um, archetypes. Okay, so being multidimensional, but also having your own true archetype, would that box you in, or what would that be? If you're tapping into your archetype, you know what I'm saying, and also being multidimensional.
So I'm gonna kind of take this from like with a filmmaking analogy, is that you can use like you can use various tropes like to or I'll give another example. I'll give another example. When George Lucas created the original Star Wars movie, he was not just tapping into one spirituality. He was tapping into like as many of them as he can, and then so much so that in 2007 on Star Wars' 30th anniversary, there's a documentary on the History Channel that talks about the franchise has in a way created its own myth. That's why it was the cultural touchstone that spoke universally to the world as it does. So I would say in that respect, with that analogy, it's if you do subscribe strictly to one archetype, then you are boxing yourself in. But that's why I say for and same thing with like all the content creation that people consume or whatever. It's like if you're looking at Andrew Tate's content only, you're only gonna associate with Andrew Tate. If you look at Fresh and Fit, you're boxing yourself into Fresh and Fit. That's why I firmly believed earlier that you kind of need to take your 2 cents from whichever and resonate with what makes sense for you, and then eventually you reach a point where it just synthesizes.
Hmm. I love that. There's something called, I'm sure you've heard of it. I forgot the name, but it's like king, magician, lover, and then there's a fourth one. I forgot the name. King, magician, lover. There's a fourth
I
one.
think it's I think it's Warrior.
Oh, warrior. Yeah. So for archetypes, um, I'm a king, definitely. However, I have also tapped into the other archetypes just so I can expand my own psyche.
Yeah,
Um,
exactly.
that's what you're saying, right?
Yes, and that's something that even Carl Jung dived into as well with like you have all these archetypes, but when it comes to like the collective human consciousness, which is very layered, like like when applying this in the real world, you don't need your story is what you make it essentially. Like if you only see yourself as the king, then you're only going to be the king, flaws and all.
Yeah.
But if you're able to like pull from however many because it makes sense to you, then you're just like it's like by that point it's like I don't need to fit into a category. I'm just me who took elements of this because it made sense to me.
I love that. How about masculine and feminine?
Masculine and feminine. Okay, so I've got some responses in regards to the whole toxic masculinity
Okay.
agenda. It's that okay? If there exists toxic masculinity, there must also exist toxic femininity, i.e., the femme fatale.
Hmm.
Because it's like I don't buy this bullshit of toxic masculinity is toxic. It's like, well, what about femininity? You
Yeah,
use your
but
looks all the time to get you use your looks all the time to get what you want.
that's true.
And also my thoughts on this too is like it's not just the woman's fault for using her looks to get what they want. It's
Hmm.
the guy's lack of willpower. He's
Yeah,
letting the surface affect him.
so true.
So,
Yeah.
so when it comes to like modern day dynamics between men and women, I'm like they always say, is it men's fault? Is it women's fault? It's like, no, it's both of us. It's both of us. Like, and also we're so accustomed to looking at everyone else's red flags. We've ironically become blindsided by our own red flags and any potential for green flags. Because that seems to be the talking point now. The red flags of everybody else.
Hmm. Uh, can you dig deeper, Eric? And also, by the way,
So
but real quick, your Star Wars analogy you gave was pretty confusing. If you could give me a more simplification of that as well.
okay. So like I said, so this really does kind of talk boil back to everything I said about Carl Jung, whose studies were explored by Joseph Campbell, who wrote The Hero's Journey. And
Hmm.
then he was a college professor at the time. George Lucas got his book on the monomyth, and then he started reading up uh, the Hero of a Thousand Faces, and then that's when he became the influence for Luke Skywalker, the average everyman who crosses over from the ordinary world to the extraordinary world, and then you get to Empire where he's understanding the Force, but his mind hasn't fully expanded yet. That's why, and the best subtle form of dialogue is when Yoda lifts the X-wing, and then he says, "I don't believe it," and then Yoda says, "That is why you fail," because he doesn't believe yet. So when he fights Vader in Cloud City, he loses his hand and finds out, oh shit, the biggest bad guy that I've been trying to fight is my own flesh and blood. He's my father. So now, and kind of like what you said, when you know certain things, your viewpoint just shatters.
Mm.
And then fast forward to Return of the Jedi, where after he learned from Obi-Wan and Yoda, he doesn't have a mentor. Yoda dies later. He's walking into like Jabba's palace, hooded, and then he's just like casually force choking two dudes, and he's casually killing motherfuckers left and right, and he's wearing all black. He's accepted the darkness within him, and he's like, yeah, I've accepted my failure, my dark side, and I know what to do with it now.
Yeah, that's so funny. Masculine, feminine.
So to aside from the surface level on masculinity and femininity, um, this also kind of ties into my standards of the feminine and the masculine. And I'm sorry to say this, but I, as a guy, have a bit of a laundry list myself. So aside from the surface level, how I look at the feminine is woman. She could be loving, nurturing, loyal, compassionate, and kind. And then the other hand, she could be bubbly, flirty, playful, wild, and naughty.
Mm.
And then to tie it back to what I said about the masculine, one minute he could be gentle, generous, kind, protective, and tender. But
Mm.
then the next minute he could be raw, untamed, intense, passionate, and just a beast.
Mm. Mm. Okay, interesting. Beast. I honestly, at this point, I'm just throwing like concepts because I feel like Eric, you're like telepathic. You're like reading my mind. Um, Beast, dark triad, negatives of the negative connotation of dark triad based on the multidimensional.
Okay, so I feel the stigma that the dark triad gets is the attempt to sanitize our society. And the methods in which our societies get sanitized is it's very disgusting. Like
Mhm.
this, like especially in America, where they're like, oh, it was run by slave owners. It was what was it? We've it was run by slave owners and shit. That's what the whole legacy is built on. So we're gonna tear down the foundation. And it's like, but do you kind of not see how tearing down the statues of the people that made this country, it goes against it goes against what was it? It's not, you're just adding oil to the fire. You're not providing any solutions. You're just reacting to something. That's it.
Mhm.
And why do and also have we not come to this point already where every country and nation, every tribe has at some point committed slavery, genocide, and all others litany of like horrific deeds and sins as is.
Mhm.
When you accept that reality, then there's no need to sanitize it as deeply as possible. But so in the case of the dark triad, it's like it's it's kind of like the word manipulation. It's like
Mhm.
it's just a word, but we often associate it as negative because how it's been regularly used. So,
Mhm.
like, what was it? The dark triad is like Machiavellianism, psychopathy, and what was the third one?
I'm not sure. I don't. I think dark triad is stupid personally, but yeah.
But basically, like, it's very like the attempts to sanitize it by saying like, oh, this is evil or whatever. Then it's like, another thing for that matter, trying to demonize every little thing that doesn't fit your narrative. Especially,
Mm.
I'm like, okay, don't you think it kind of makes me think on the flip side too? Don't you think trying to label every little thing as evil is gonna, or trying to like force loyalty is gonna
Mm.
unintentionally bring people to the other side?
That's so true. Wow, you make a lot of good points. I want to bring it back into not what's it? Oh, manipulation. I'm so glad you said this. Yes. So I have a psychology background and something that I didn't even realize this until later. I was like, wait a second. If people say manipulation is wrong, then science cannot function because they can't do a goddamn manipulative study, right? You have,
Energy manipulation.
yeah, yeah. And so it comes down to intention. If your intention is evil, then of course you are manipulating the other person. Also, if you're, but the thing is this. So if you're aware, and I'm going to be a little bit like put out, if you're aware that you are gaslighting the other person, you are manipulating. That's negative. However, and this is the concept of just like learning techniques and like not gimmicks and stuff, but learning certain ways, learning the structure of communication with women. You have to be aware that what you're doing is going to elicit some kind of a reaction. That's
Yeah.
positive manipulation for me. However, the moment it becomes negative is the person, the woman, I hate the concept of shit test. It's so stupid, it's so barbaric. If she's not attracted to you, and you're trying to like plow through and trying to change her mind to like you by creating these DHVs and these fake stories and shit, that's negative manipulation. Okay,
Yeah.
so it's not like you begin from like it's not like from the opener you can choose whether to be this or that. It's your integrity. So as you're speaking to her, the more information you get in your mind, that's when you determine, okay, this woman, I'm not going to bother like, sleeping with her or whatever. But you make those decisions based on your integrity, based on the conversation you're having with them, and then you decide based on that whether you want it to be negative or positive. I would just
Yeah.
this is a question. I'm just sharing my 2 cents in here.
No, no, yeah, exactly. It really does come down to intention. It's like I would say power in any form, it doesn't really change who you are. It amplifies who you are.
True.
So notice too, especially like say I'm gonna tie this back to the fashion background where notice how especially women who get into the modeling industry, their emotional reactions to things are very amplified. One little thing could set them off for better or worse. It's like they found out they got their next what was it, they got like their lucky break. They're breaking into like a huge well-known fashion design or whatever. Then next thing you know, they're like sobbing, but like they're super happy about it. Or one little comment that they end up taking personally, they're like flipping out and having a shitstorm. You know what I mean?
Can you give me an example?
So I'll give an example of how what was it? Okay, so I'm not gonna name names, so they know who they are. There's this one model where we ended up taking. I only ran into her twice, surprisingly, at a couple events in LA, and then we took photos in the event lobby, and then I sent her the photos. I let her pick her favorites, and I like to let the models pick their favorites too. I edit them, I enhance them, I put it up on Instagram, and then throw in a collaboration invite. And then a month later, she's telling me, "Hey, can you take the photos down?" And then I didn't even read my DMs immediately. I was like taking a nap at the time, and then I pick up my phone. Not even 10 minutes later, she's sending me a DM saying this could be evidence for legal action because what you're doing is demonizing my reputation. I'm like what the fuck?
Just woke up from a nap.
I was like, I literally just woke
Yeah, that's wow.
up.
That is
So
wow.
that was a negative example.
I had something similar. I had a client back in the day. He was also a friend too. Actually, he was also into magic. But I remember like he gave me all these testimonials and stuff, and it was great. And I wanted to like, post it online, and it was getting a lot of attraction because it was really genuine with what he was sharing. But then something happened in his life, and he came to me and it was just so random. It's like, Armin, that testimonial you have up there, take it down. And I was like, bro, like that's my IP. Like, I helped you out, get a girlfriend. You gave me a testimonial, value exchange, and I went out of my way to blur his face and like, change his voice because he was like, someone's gonna identify me. Okay. I did all this stuff, bro, to like change everything, and it was costly. Okay. It was spend like, like I'm not gonna whatever, spend money on it for some guy to edit this stuff. And then for me to take it down was just so, I'm not gonna keep it up there. I want to respect obviously him. But at the same time, I could have, yeah, my mistake was that I didn't have a legally binding contract, but now I do. So every person who works with me, I will promise you, I will take him to court, no problem. Because in my contract, it says right then and there that you have to give me a video testimonial. And then they sign the shit, this is legal. So now I have that because I learned a lesson that, I guess it doesn't matter how much good you do for a man, if that man has, like what you mentioned earlier, what was it? Spineless, right? They're spineless. They're not strong in their, self-worth and value. At any moment, they're gonna break. And the moment they break, they're gonna take it out on me or take it out, project into their bullshit into someone else. So yeah, it was just really, really obnoxious, I would say.
Yeah. So in the case with the model that I mentioned, by that point, I literally took the photos off my IG because I was like, you know what? If you're gonna be acting like this, I'm not even proud to have your photos on my
Oh
IG.
yeah, exactly. Yeah. Don't give her any marketing. Yeah.
Yeah, and then I actually ran into I think by this point she if I say more she's gonna end up seeing
Yeah.
this video, but I'm gonna say it anyway. I saw her again at Babes in Toyland, right?
No.
With Michael Sartain.
Oh, like his stuff?
Yeah, so I was at Sin City Swim Week or at Babes in Toyland in Vegas because I was getting ready for Vegas Swim Week. I ran into her again, and then of course it's like social event setting. We kind of have our social defenses up. She gives me like a hey, and I just gave her a
Hmm. Ah,
that's
good.
it.
Good.
And then like what was it? And then even though like what was it? I had to put up with that shit. Like after I left the event, I literally said to myself, "Oh God, I feel like I got to mouth. I feel like I got to wash out my mouth with soap."
Yeah, it's that residue, right? It's that energy, right?
Yeah, exactly. And especially when I'm like inauthentic, but if I'm like just trying to get through, like if I'm just trying to get through like an awkward interaction or something, I'm just like, oh.
That's really funny. Yeah, that's a funny face. That's funny. The, oh,
but
Eric,
um,
this is really
but
good. Yeah, go for it.
but to kind of tie back to power, it's not bad inherently. It's how you use it, and it's also it amplifies who you are. So it's like if you were like a it's kind of like if a kid just found your dad's gun in his kitchen drawer. What do you think he's gonna do? He's gonna play with it and not know what to do with it.
Mm.
Whereas if like a guy who's actually trained to use the gun, he's and then he's like, oh shit, this is powerful, but I'm only gonna use it for specific cases.
Mm. Good analogy. Mm. Cool. Eric, a few more questions and then we gotta wrap up. Um,
Okay.
can you tell me who are some of your mentors in life? And also the lessons they
Um,
have taught you.
okay. Um, so some of the mentors that I've had previously were, well, he's not my mentor anymore, but I don't know if you've heard of him. His name was Coach Grand Cam.
No.
Oh, well, he disbanded his brand recently, and then at some point in his at some point he kind of just like duped most of us from his group anyway because he was just like, I'm trying to see who's real VIP material. But the lesson that I got from him, which like aside from that fallout, I still take a lot of his lessons to heart. Like if you're gonna be like if you're like when you're in a social circle setting, obviously like especially if it's a woman that you're attracted to, just have a low social footprint because it's like its own little ecosystem.
Mm.
So have a low social footprint there. Just provide value when you can, and also have a sense of urgency. What
Mm.
else? There's like so many lessons that I learned from him. And that there's what was it? Language exposes you.
Mm. What do you mean?
Basically like how you say something in the word choice does give an insight into.
Mm.
Okay, so this guy, okay, this person is coming from so and so place.
Mm.
They're operating on this mentality. What's another one? There's a wife for everything.
There's a what for everything?
A wife for everything.
Oh, I thought it said a wife. I was
A
like,
wife.
oh, you don't say. Okay, but okay, okay. Okay. It said
A wife for everything, and also I did learn about primary driver emotions from him.
hmm. It said emojis, right?
No, primary driver emotions is like it's like
Emotion. I
the
said emojis. Okay.
no no primary driver emotions. It's the how do I phrase this in my own way? It's like it's the emotional motivation behind everything you're doing. So
Hmm.
like a tech company that says we're operating we're doing our best for quality flight and military standards and national security. A fashion designer that says we want women to feel more confident and sexy.
Hmm. Interesting. Hmm. Any other mentors?
Um, there's another one. His name is Limo. I can't say his last name, but a really good lesson that I did get from him is um, everywhere you go, you have to operate with intention. Like when he went to Vegas, he says, I notice a lot of people are just kind of going with the motions like a tourist. No, when I go to Vegas, but then when he says when he goes to Vegas, I'm going there with the intention of try to get as much value as I can out of it. You know, get some photos for Instagram, meet some women there, get some business done.
Hmm. That's actually powerful. When you remember his name, if you text it to me,
Um,
I would love to look
yeah, yeah,
into
yeah.
it.
Yeah, I'll text you the I'll text you his name. His name is
Okay.
Limo.
Okay. And oh, Limo, Limo.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. Okay. It's funny you say this. For the longest time, I was confused about his character. But I don't want to judge him because I can tell like he knows things. But I never actually looked into him, so I'm glad you mentioned it. He's in my we've been friends on Facebook forever. I've been in his group also. I just didn't really. It's like another guy named Yannick. I don't even like. He's also a dating coach, but I
Wait, is it Yannick Levesque or something?
yeah.
He had a school program like SKOOL, but it just didn't take off.
I see. Okay, okay. Yeah, we spoke a long time ago. A really good man. I really respect him. Same for Lima. I respect him as well. I never like knew who the hell these guys are. So I'm glad you mentioned them. So now I can go dig
Hmm.
into them. And you're right, his last name, yeah, nobody can pronounce it, not even his own mother. But something you mentioned though, and then after this we're gonna like wrap up. But this is really good. Maybe we have to have a part two. Mm, let me see. Let me think of it. Let's see. What was the advice Limo gave you?
Operate with
Okay, yeah,
intention.
intention. Yes, I love that. So I call this concept, and I will trademark this shit so no one can steal it from me. Um, I call it pattern interruption. So this is actually the way I live my life. So look up RSD Jeffrey as well. I'll have him on the show later. He talks about this a lot. it's a it's not a religion, but it's like a philosophy of being absurd, okay? Being a your own character in your own game and not being an NPC. So for example, okay, this is self-amusement. So for example, something I do is that, and I was a little late because I came from the gym. When I was walking to the gym, I was like, woo! I can't do it right now, inside the house, but I was like, woo! Like super loudly, okay, just to hype myself up. And then
Huh.
when I got into the gym, I was like, I was like, what was that? The guy who does like the cut it dance? Cut it, okay? Cut it. You know what I'm talking about?
Oh no, but you're talking about Ross Jeffries, right?
No, not Ross Jeffries. No,
What who?
no. I'm not talking about Ross Jeffries.
Oh,
Um,
okay.
I'm saying pattern interruption. When
Oh,
you
pattern and direction.
Yeah, yeah, pattern interruption. Basically, it's self-amusement. Okay. Um,
Yeah.
another guy actually look him up. No, no, no. Oh, as we're saying, no, no, no. The guy name is Steve Jeffrey.
Oh,
He's
okay,
he's not it's not Ross Jeffries. This is somebody else.
okay,
Yeah, but hold on a second. Ross, yeah, it's called the religion or philosophy of being absurd. Another person is Young Mooch. I'm gonna have him on the podcast, who is pretty brilliant. So Young Mooch, look up. My favorite one is when he's going up the escalator, and then like girls are coming with their boyfriends, and he's like, "Ooh, I'm gonna piss this guy off." And then what he'll do is that he'll like grab the girl's chin and it's like, "Hey, beautiful," and then the boyfriend like attacks him. It's pretty funny. But what he's doing is that, or just the concept is, you're interrupting the flow of life because life is dynamic, it's not static. You make a
yeah,
static, you're an NPC, you're a robot. And so self-amusement. So, and maybe this is something you have tried before, but do something. So for me, I'm a weird guy. When I'm walking down the street, I'm gonna take full advantage of my value. So, and also just I'm gonna take full advantage of being present in the moment. So what I do is that I might just yell, "I'm a warrior!" like super loudly. Or I might do some like salsa in the middle of the road. I'm like just like doing some salsa, spinning myself around. Okay. It looks chaotic and crazy. But
yeah,
what I'm really doing is I'm having fun. Like I find it to be really I used to troll when I was a kid. It was really fun. All my friends know it too. But now I get to troll, but now he has meaning assigned to it. This is my
yeah.
life for myself. So this is actually the same exact thing I teach my clients. When we go out, the first thing I do with them is I don't say like, "Hey, go tell that girl she's beautiful." No, fuck that. First, you gotta shout out, "I'm beautiful." Okay? Do something. Get yourself out of your body, out of your chest. And then when you go speak to the girl, then yeah, obviously there's some structure and stuff, but that makes it easier. I go up
That
to yeah, what's up?
that that actually sounds very cathartic.
What does that mean?
Cathartic, it's like a state of emotional release.
Yes.
Like like when you've been like when you've been holding back so much trauma that at some point when you're in the healing phase, you just start crying profusely and then you feel lighter afterwards. But yeah, like getting rid of the nerves by just doing something completely
Crazy.
absurd.
Crazy, yeah. And one more thing, and I want to capture the stuff in a video as well. But one of the things is, I like doing shimmies. Okay, so this is like level 5 of like self-amusement. Is I go up to girls. I love doing this for group sets. It's my favorite. I go up to them like, "Excuse me." And by the way, Eric, I'm always looking for a rejection. Like in my mind, I'm like, I can't wait to get rejected. I'm like fucking excited. Okay, so I go up to a group of all these babes. I'm like, "Excuse me. I want all of you to rate my shimmy." They're like, "What?" And then I go ba 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 ba. Okay, like, and I'm not doing this as of like I'm shy. Like, "Hey, hey, no, 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 bro. These are big ass like 360. Like these are 100% effort shimmies." And I'm keeping a serious face because I don't want to come off like a clown. So and then the girls will rate my shimmy, and then from there, if I like one of them or whatever, I'll start talking to her. And I don't do this as of like a gimmick. No. The only reason I did my shimmy was that I was nervous. I wanted to get out of my chest. And I knew that if I go up to them and I do something wild and crazy, I don't care if I get rejected. That's not the point. The point is that I am going in there and showing them that this is my love. I love all you ladies. You're all sexy. This is my love for you. And if the teacher doesn't want it, that's okay. Hey, you have a beautiful day. Do you have a hot friend? Okay. I'm a little persistent, okay? But and then I'll leave. But look into that. It's really interesting. Pattern interruption, getting out of your head. The multidimensional thing you mentioned, you'll see the love around you. And also this is where the elements start interacting with you. Like the wind gets stronger, atmosphere feels a little thick. Suddenly you meet the girl that you were thinking about, and she's over there. You go talk to her, and she's like, "Oh my God, my ex-boyfriend was half Japanese and European." "Oh my God, you into multidimensional, Eric? I just wrote a thesis on that for my PhD." And you're like, "Oh, okay." I'm just serious. People call those miracles. I don't call those miracles. I call them that. I mean, there's different things I call them, but they're not miracles. You became a radio and you attracted that signal towards yourself. Frequencies.
Yeah.
Honestly, I'm really excited, bro. I want to talk to you like for 20 hours. But I do need to wrap up. I have another call. I have to still eat dinner. Actually, I don't think it'll hurt my stomach. I'm like growling here. But
No, you're good. Yeah.
is there any question, Eric, that you wish I asked you and I did not? And if there is, ask it and then answer it.
Uh,
You're like,
I'll probably have an answer to that question maybe down the road after this call is done.
hmm.
Like, because like in the moment, I probably won't have an answer to that. Because like I'm already just enjoying the present. You know what I mean? I'm not
Hmm.
thinking about like anything else.
I understand. Okay, fair point. How about you know what? Fine, I'll ask you one more question, okay? How
Okay.
do you come up with your creative thought, your creative process?
For like anything.
Yeah, honestly, that was the end of the question. Yeah, that's all I had.
Okay. So I'm not sure what my creative process is per se, but let's say for like engineering, for example, because I remember during my university years, during one of my stoner highs, I was literally thinking like there's a lot more in common with art and engineering that people give it credit for. Because it's like with art, you have like say like for a movie, you have a set runtime, you have a set budget, you have a set canvas. You need to make the most of how you're gonna focus everything within said canvas, but make it creative. For engineering, you need to be creative so that way you can think of out of the box solutions for how do we solve this problem so he doesn't run into this issue again, or you need to be creative if you're going to go into something innovative and break the mold.
Mm.
So that being said, it's like I would say for how I come up with my creative processes in any scenario. Or another thing I'll do is like in Vegas there was like a Ukrainian model that was kind of like arching her back and then just kind of like like eyes closed, hand into her hair or whatever, and then to kind of get like a dramatic angle, I had to kind of like lower the camera down, like kind of like well, kind of put it like this, kind of spread my legs a little bit, put the camera down, and then angle the monitor up so that I'm like, okay, is this actually like a good angle? And then I go, and I'm like, okay, I got the angle, I got the shot, even if I look fucking ridiculous doing it.
Wait, hold up. I want to envision this. You were like crouching tiger, like camera, like between your like. What do you mean? Like between your balls?
So
Like
like no, so to kind of put it this way, I was what was it? What was it? Okay. So she was lying on one of the pool beds or whatever. It's like one of those round pool sofas or whatever. She was arching her back, lying on it, posing, and then I'm sitting at one of those like reclining pool beds. I'm like sitting right at the edge, legs spread, and then I'm reaching my camera all the way down to the bottom to get that low dramatic angle, and then I'm angling the monitor up so I could see it. And I'm like, am I getting the right angle? And I'm like looking up and down, up and down.
it's
It
so
looks
funny. Yeah.
it looks so ridiculous. It looks so ridiculous, but I'm like, hey, I got to do whatever I can to get the shot. And also to because if I communicate the pose or the micro direction to the model, it takes too much time. So I'm just like, okay, you know what? I'm gonna make a complete fool of myself. I'm gonna look far from masculine in doing this, but I'm gonna act out the gesture. I'm gonna act out the pose like a fucking mannequin.
It's so funny. Oh my God, that's so funny. Yeah.
So so my mentality for having any creative process is I gotta do what I can to get this done.
You gotta do it, bro. You
It's
gotta
it's
get it
the it's
done.
the sense of and it's a sense of urgency.
I like that. Hey, that's good. Approach anxiety. No, hold on, wait. No, but don't explain it. For the approach anxiety, right? When you see someone, don't wait. The longer you wait, you will go crazy. You know how many times I thought about it
Yeah.
that way? I'm like, yeah. And then afterwards, Eric, it's like worse. You're like, why didn't I do it? You judge yourself like, I could have just gone in there, got rejected. So my mindset is always, and this is something I taught myself over the course of time. because for me, I love the game. I love to always explore myself, push my potentials. But something I learned over time was that, bro, just go get rejected, okay? Go get rejected, go get it out of your system. I promise you, you're gonna feel so much better. But if you
Yeah,
go in there because you want to succeed, yeah, let me like for example, gym, like I just made some friends in the gym recently. But like if I'm approaching grow in the gym, I'm just gonna go get it done. Okay. I mean, obviously I don't do sniper approach, but if I see it, I'm gonna go up there, I'm like, excuse me, um, don't want to be crass. I've been checking you out for the last like 10 minutes. I'm sick and tired. I'm just gonna come over and say hi to you. Okay, I'm serious. I'll just have a conversation. Are you single? Okay, great. Blah blah blah. Let's go grab Chipotle after this. Blah blah blah. I might stutter. I might like my hands will be clammy and sweaty.
yeah,
Like, I'm like sweat is like pouring down like, from my nose. And I'll tell her, I'm like, listen, this is your fault. This is your fault. I am like, you don't know this, but my heart is ripping on my chest. I am so goddamn nervous. Why are you so sexy? Okay, why are you so sexy? But this is all your fault. And then after that, it will buy me some time, and then I can get into like, just talking to her. But being authentic and vulnerable and taking that chance so you don't let it go, I really feel like that really touches to your authentic core. And then the whole multidimensional you're saying, like, it works to your advantage. Like, you'll see it because you're allowing to see yourself.
yeah, exactly.
Mm.
The last time I ever asked a girl that question, why are you so goddamn sexy? And
Mm.
then like what was it? She mentioned something like, why? Is it the top? And I was like, well, your looks are only half of it.
What was
Keep
the
in
other
mind,
half?
why I said half of it. I will because I want to see what made her her.
Yeah, no, that makes sense. So the other half was like her personality, her vibe.
Because I wanted to see what her vibe was. Because
That's very.
like, es- especially when I'm working with models professionally, like couple things. One, a lot of like the man woman dynamics still apply to dating. There's overlap, but not too much.
Mm.
Don't want to mix business with pleasure. No. but
I know
but
what you
number two is but like what was it? Especially with the approach anxiety that you mentioned. Especially like when I was in San Diego and I was like the party was winding down and then the little it wasn't really a runway, it was more like a little showcase platform in the dance floor. But basically I was like thinking, oh shit, whose IGs did I not pick up yet? I'm kind of in networking mode. So then I see like a couple, obviously I'm seeing chicks in bikinis, so I'm like thinking like, fuck, you know what? I gotta go. I gotta grab some IGs, and then I have to like get going. Like I
mean.
gotta go.
I gotta go away. Yeah. Oh, that's so funny. I know what you mean. I mean, not exactly, but because you're the one photographer working with them. No, but I hear what you're saying. Even with your professionalism, I have three friends actually, top of my head, Dan, Eddie, and Hitesh. I'll introduce you to them too. And they also say the same thing. Like they don't shit where they eat.
Yeah,
Hmm.
and then to kind of tie back to like especially like if it's like not professional and I'm just like talking to women or whatever. I don't care if I'm like doing the moonwalk while walking or if I'm just like kind of just dancing in the middle of the space or whatever. I'm just like, yeah, I'm just having fun, and like it kind of ties back to what Rollo Tomasi, right?
Yes.
So he did it. He said something in his podcast that actually kind of felt like very all encompassing out of the theory and red pill or whatever. He said, "Be willing to make mistakes. That way you have a story to tell." I'm like, yeah, that's actually pretty good.
I love
like
that.
like so then to kind of tie it back to what you said about like I'm just waiting to get rejected
Can't wait, bro. Like it's
because I
like
have a story to tell.
exciting. Okay.
It's like and especially when I was like living in San Diego and I was like checking out what it had to offer or whatnot and slowly coming out of my mental rut. We'll probably explore that in a part two or something. But it's like I went to a lot of these rooftop pool parties solo. I didn't have a group.
Mm.
And then I was like, hey, if I didn't shoot my shot with if I shot my shot with that girl, but nothing really came of it, it's whatever. I mean, I'm not really losing anything. I'm not embarrassing anybody.
Mm. That's so true. Yeah, we have to have a part two, Eric. Because as you're talking, I'm getting like more downloads. I'm having like more like things I want to say. Um, yeah. Hold on, wait, just one more. Hold on. It says not a question. I just want to remember what it is. Let's see. Hold on. Approach anxiety. Um, it was honestly around that sphere. I'm sure when I look at this again, because I will remember like, aha, I remember my point. But we have to have a part two. I'm sure. It's like this. It just was a very honestly, I didn't expect it to be this epic, but this
Yeah.
turned out to be right. Like fair to say, right? This is very good, honestly. I can't wait to see the transcript. But Eric, we do have to wrap up. Whatever, we gotta wrap up. But it was let me restart that. Eric, it's time to wrap up. It was a pleasure having you here. Okay. And
Likewise, Armin.
yeah, pleasure is all mine. And please send me your email address. I will send a copy of this, the original one, before I do the captions and stuff like that. And yeah, this was great. Let's do
Yeah.
another one. Hit me up. I'm really booked in September. I have like about 45 podcasts to do, but next month and stuff, I'm more free. But whatever, we'll talk.
Yeah.
Yeah, we'll talk.
Yeah. I was gonna say 14th to 21st is when I'm gonna be in Tokyo. And then October, November, December, it's pretty much up in the air by this point.
Okay. And here, hold on. Let me